I'm Jackie. I'm the Emerging Tech Specialist at the Muskegon Area District Library. Thank you for joining us for our Introduction to Microsoft Publisher Part 2, and let's go ahead and get started. Okay, now that we've got a topic chosen for our brochure, we're just going to talk about some of the other options that Publisher gives us for making it look how we want. So we've talked about inserting a text box and how we can go about changing that. Let's talk about adding pictures. So I'm going to go to the Insert tab again. It's going to be really popular with us today. I'm going to insert from the Illustrations command group a picture. Now there are a couple of different options here. You can do a placeholder if you know you're going to have a picture that you want but you don't have it yet. You can just hold the shape. You can insert a shape. You can do a picture from your computer. For example, if you're doing a brochure about the business you're running out of your home and you have pictures of your products or your location, you can use that. I don't have any of those because I'm doing cute dogs, so I'm going to go to Online Pictures. This will pull free pictures from online for us without having to leave Publisher, and then we can use those. So I'm going to click on that. It might take a second to load up. It has to connect to the internet, so we'll just give it a little second here. Okay, super. So from here you can see they divide things up into different groups for us. Um, we can search by different groups, or I'm going to go right up here at the top and I'm going to say I would like a picture of a dog. Enter. One of the search things here is Creative Commons. That means we are looking for pictures that have been authorized or been tagged as Creative Commons photos, which means that we have the ability to use them for free. We don't have to credit anybody. Some of the images might have watermarks or credits built into them, which is fine. But we don't have to do anything special. Okay, I'm going to choose this boy. Now you'll notice I have insert down here. I've chosen this. You'll see the little check mark in the corner. Insert one. I can go through and choose as many as I want, but for now I'm just going to do insert one. It's going to drop that in there for me. There he is. It's a good boy. Okay, and I want him. Click and drag over here. He's going to be on my cover. So I'm just going to put him kind of there. Okay, now we've got a couple options. You'll notice same thing as my text box. When I have him selected, we see these white corner dots, these little squares around the sides, to let me know that that's selected. While he is selected, I get a special Format tab up in my menu ribbon called the Picture Tools Format tab. This has special tools that are exclusive to my picture. I can come in to corrections. You know, if you have a picture that's a little bit too dark, you can do some picture corrections. You can do a recolor. I'm actually going to use Set Transparent Color. What this does is it tells the computer, actually, this color is see-through because I really like him, but I don't really want that blue background. So I'm going to see if it'll work. Sometimes it works really well, sometimes it doesn't work as great. So okay, so that didn't work super well for me because there's too many different shades of blue that fades from dark blue to light blue. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it. That's fine for now. I'm going to resize him. So to do that, I'm going to find one of the corner dots. I'm going to click. I'm going to drag. Now sometimes you'll find with an image, if you click on a corner dot or especially one of these side ones, he gets all squishy. We don't want that, so I'm going to undo it. I'm going to hold down Control on my keyboard and hit Z. That'll be our quick undo. Sometimes in order to maintain your aspect ratio, which is correct height to width, you have to hold down Shift while you drag a corner, and that will keep it so that you can't change the aspect ratio. It won't get bigger without getting wider. So you'll notice I've got Shift held down on my keyboard and I'm clicking and dragging on my corner. If I move it just straight up, well, it's still gonna get wider because it's keeping it the same height to width ratio. I'm gonna let go of everything when I'm happy. That's fine. Okay, now we're going to talk about how do we get rid of that background if we don't want that background. There is a bit of a tricky way, but we're gonna make it work for us. So we are going to insert a shape. Now, if you click on this little down arrow, you're going to get this whole big menu of all this awesome stuff that we can do. Um, we are going to come down into recently used shapes. For me, it's there, or we're going to go to lines. We're looking for this kind of really weird looking guy. If you hover over him, it should say freeform shape. Perfect. That's what we want. Alright, now you notice our cursor has changed to a target. I'm going to zoom in so I see this big beautiful puppy dog. Okay, now I've got my dog exactly where I want him. I can see all of the dog that I want to keep, and that's key because once you start drawing, you're not going to be able to move around. So I'm going to click as far down as I can get off my picture. And now you'll notice I've clicked once. I've got this line. This is the line that I'm going to be drawing. Every time I click, I'm going to create a dot, a point that sticks, and I'm going to be able to draw a new line. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're just trying to get this dog outlined. Now the trick is we're actually going to be covering the background. That's what we're hiding here. So we're going to go over this. Now I picked a dog, which was silly, because dogs have hair, which has not a hard edge. This is much easier to do on something that has a very hard edge. If you have a very large photo that's very detailed, you can always do this in pieces. I'm just going to get one go, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here in just a second. We're almost done. Okay, so I'm coming to the edge. Instead of covering my dog, I'm going to come up. I'm going to cover this background. Boop, boop, boop. And I'm going to return to my original point. There we go. Now, I missed a little bit up there, but that's okay. We can talk about multiple parts then that way. So now you'll see, oh, well now he's back on a blue background. That was dumb. That's what you had to begin with. Well, I can control the color of this shape. So I'm going to come up here. I've got the box around this shape. You'll notice it's got the white dots in the corners. I've got my Drawing Tools Format tab, which is special for shapes. I'm going to come up here to Shape Fill. Click on that down arrow. It lets me pick any color I want. I would like white. And then Shape Outline. I actually don't want a shape outline. I'm going to choose No Outline, please and thank you. And there's my good boy. It's a little bit stiff around the edges. I didn't add as many dots as I could have. I could have gone in and said, well, actually, you know, I want to go do for all these lines, but I just wanted the basic shape. That's good enough for me. You can make it as complicated or as detailed as you want. Now I do have those two little bits right up there at the top. We've got a couple of different options. We can add a new shape just like we did before. We can come to Insert, we can add a shape, and we can just draw a shape right there and cover it up. Another option is to click on this guy, come to our formats, and then come back and edit our shape. Under here we can choose Edit Points. This lets us move our points around so we can cover up those outside edges. So that's another option. A third option, once we're done, I'm going to click on Edit Shape again. And there we go. Another option would be to just crop our original picture. This dog, I really only need the dog. I don't really need all of this extra space above him. So click on my dog. Under my Picture Tools Format tab, one of the last sections is Crop. I can come here, tap on Crop, and I'll see these black bars. Clicking on those will drag in my edges, getting rid of anything I don't want. There we go. And then when I'm done, I can hit my crop tool right up here. When those black bars go away, it's back to normal. Super. Now there's that good boy on my white background. He looks very good. Now, right now, I can move this dog and I've lost that outline, and it's going to be really hard to get him right back where I want him. I'm going to hit undo to bring him back where he needs to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use something called the group tool. It's going to take different elements on our document and it's going to stick them together in a folder so that they stay together. We can come back and ungroup them later if we have to, but I'm not worried about it for now. I just really want to make sure that my dog and his background stick together. So I'm going to click on one or the other, it doesn't matter which one. Hold down Shift on your keyboard and move your mouse until you see the outline of the other one. Click on that. Now I should see two outlines here. That means I've got two things selected. Another way of going about doing that is moving your mouse off, clicking in this negative gray space of the background, and just dragging over it. See, I have to highlight all of them. There they are. Got my two boxes selected. Under Home or under Picture Tools, we're looking for this icon right here, Group. So under the Home tab, it's under Arrange, Group, or if we're in our Picture Tools format, it is under the Arrange. It's this top little square guy here. Click on that, either one, it'll work the same. Now what happens is I only see one outline. When I select it, they move together. So they're moving around all together there. Very nice. So now I've got my cute dog. He's going down here. Perfect. He looks very nice. Beautiful. Okay, that's exactly what I want. I'm actually going to make him a little bit smaller. So we've talked about controlling our shapes a little bit. If we come back up here to Insert, Shapes, click on that little down arrow, there are so many shapes here that we can utilize, and I highly recommend playing around with them because you can really do some cool stuff with them. If you're doing flowcharts, you can build some awesome flowcharts in here. I'm going to add one just for fun. Under the Callouts tab, I'm going to add a speech bubble. I'm going to click and drag, and that draws my shape. There he is. And you'll notice I immediately get a little I-beam flashing in there to start doing some typing. And I'm going to say, he's going to say, only cute dogs allowed. Okay. And I spaced that myself, so I've got an awkward spacing in there, so we're going to talk about how we can change that. But first, you'll notice we've got a text box tool because I'm typing in there. We also have our drawing tool format because I drew this speech bubble. So what I'm going to come and do is I'm going to say, highlight this text. I'm going to, in my text box tools format tab, change it to Arial. That's just my personal preference. Actually, you know what? Let's change it up. Yes. Make it a little bit bigger. And then I'm going to change my spacing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back home. Under my paragraph tools, I have this one with the arrow pointing up and the arrow pointing down. This is our line spacing. I'm going to change it to 1. I'm also going to go to line spacing options. You'll notice there is the dot 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 at the end. That gives us the option to open up a menu and make some more choices. So I have line spacing after the paragraph, 6 points, No, I would like that to be 0, please. And thank you. Okay. There we go. Now my words fit a little bit better. I'm going to make them bigger. I want to really fit that in there. Oh, it's too big. 14. Okay, that's good. We'll squish this text box down so it fits a little bit tighter. Okay, I'm happy with how that looks, except now I don't like the colors. So I'm going to click on my text box. Under my drawing tools format, I can choose my shape fill. I would like that to be white, I think. Black outline, I like that. That looks pretty cartoony. There we go. Okay. Cute dogs. I'm going to make this cuter too. This is pretty blah text. So I've highlighted my text within my text box. I'm going to come to my text box tools format. I'm going to change my font type by clicking in the font command group. I'm going to see what I got here. Okay. And I'm actually going to change the color too. So I'm going to highlight that again. Under the text box format or in our home tab, we should see this letter with a black underline underneath it. That's our font color. Clicking on the little arrow next to it will give us all these options. That's not cute enough for me though, so I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to click on that down arrow and I'm going to go to more colors, dot, dot, dot. I want more options. All right, here's more options. So you can go standard, custom, Pantone. Ooh, start with standard. Yeah, that's pretty good. Oh, yeah, it's better. Okay. Cute dogs. Perfect. Then I'm going to add inserts, shapes. We're just going to go crazy. I would like a heart. Oh, there's a heart. Basic shape. Perfect. And I'm going to draw them. There's one heart. I'm going to come to my drawing tools format. You can see my box around my heart. I'm going to make my shape fill. Now, I have my recent color here. If for some reason there was a color on this screen that I wanted that I hadn't used yet, I could come down here to the sample fill color. This eyedropper will sample whatever color I click on next. So maybe I really like the inside. Oh, I like the pink of that dog tongue. So I'm going to click on his tongue. It looks terrible, but maybe that's what I want. It's not. I want more colors. I'll go calm it down a little bit. And shape outline. I'm going to do no outline. I don't want an outline there. I can resize my heart. Now, I'm going to rotate it. I've talked about resizing. To rotate an object, I'm going to get a little bit bigger. This one weird little antenna circle, that's our rotate tool. If you hover over it, you'll see that circle. Click and drag. You can see it kind of rotating in the background. There we go. Cute dogs. Perfect. Now you'll notice I moved my heart up here. What happened to my text? That is a formatting issue we have with text. I'm going to click on my text box. I've got those red dots around it, which means I'm having issues again. In our drawing tools format, one of the options under arrange is our wrap text feature. So from here, we can choose how we want our text or our box or our artwork or whatever it is to respond to other objects on the page. So we can say none, and then this guy, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to come here, so I'm going to say none. There we go. So now if they overlap a little bit, that's fine. I want more hearts, so I'm going to click on my heart. I'm going to hold down Control. I'm going to tap on C on the keyboard for a copy. Now whenever I hit Control and tap on V, I'm going to get some hearts. I'll move those around. Now you'll notice I'm not being super careful with these hearts about squishing them. That's a choice you can make. Hearts get squished a lot anyway, so I'm not feeling really worried about it. But if you are, you can really control how you control the aspect ratio, again by holding down Shift. That's going to keep it the same height and width. Alrighty. So now we've got our cover done. let's look at the back of our brochure. So the back traditionally has a lot of text on it. It's a lot of the technical stuff. I just want to create a hard section so I know that this is the back. I'm going to come up to Insert. I'm going to do a shape. I'm going to really do just a basic rectangle. And I'm going to draw a rectangle that takes up the entire back. And notice how my screen was kind of scooching with me? That is because I got to the end and I just kept dragging up. So watch my cursor. Keep dragging past and it'll take me further down my screen. There's a box. I would like the shape fill to be pink, pink, pink. No outline. Okay, that is blinding. I love it. So we're going to come up to Insert again. We're going to do a draw the text box, and I'm just going to draw a text box on this back. So I want this to be, this is where I tell you important information. Cool, cool, cool. I spelled that wrong. Now, again with the text, it's black, it's tiny, it's Calibri. I'm going to make it Arial. Make it maybe 14 just to take up some space. I also really don't like it being black, I don't think. I'm going to see what a different color would look like. Maybe white? It's pretty hard to read either way because that pink is so bright. But now we're going to add another picture. So I'm going to come up to Insert, Picture. I'm going to do Online Picture again because I don't have anything saved on my computer. I'm going to do dog again. Okay, yeah, he's a cute boy. Resize him so he fits a little bit better. I'm going to, while I've got this box selected, under my Picture Tools, Format, Menu Ribbon tab, come to Crop. I'm going to get rid of all this excess white because it's just kind of distracting me from how big I can make him to fit in my space. When I'm happy, I'm going to come back up and hit Crop again, and I'm going to resize him again. I'm going to make him as big as I can. Okay. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to crop him again actually. But underneath our crop picture, there's that little down arrow. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to crop to shape. I would like him to be even more adorable than he is. I'm going to put him in a heart. Yeah. And I can kind of scooch him around so I get just his cute little face. Let's see. Fill up that heart. It's perfect. And then when I'm happy, I'm going to click on that crop again. Perfect. I've got that cute little boy right there. Perfect. Okay, so you can do some different shapes with crop. Zoom back out so we can see it. We've talked about editing out backgrounds with crop, and with our shape tool, we've cropped down our pictures. Alright, now let's talk about some of the other interesting text you can add. So I'm going to come to Insert or Home. We're going to draw a text box. I'm going to put it right here. Let's say we're making a list. I'm going to go ahead and change my font right away because I know I'm going to have to be Arial, at least size 12. And then I'll hit Enter to get a new row. And I'm going to say, well, I like that, but I wish that was a list. By highlighting our text here, under our Home tab, under the paragraph, we have this little tool right here called Bullets. Clicking on that lets us choose different bullets we can add, and we can always come back and change it. We can get rid of them. We can make it however we want. I kind of liked those arrows. There we go. We can make a nice list. That's one of our options. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Now our text box is a little bit bigger than I wanted, so I'm going to click on it. I'm going to click on that little bottom part. I'm just going to drag it up so it's not in the way when we put in our next feature. So under inserts, we've talked about pictures, online pictures, shapes, placeholders. Now right next to it, there's a command group called building blocks. Advertisements, we're not going to worry about, but calendars, that's pretty self-explanatory. Page parts, you can really break it up. Pre-formatted content. Let's talk about borders and accents. So clicking on that little down arrow, they've got some pre-formatted borders for you. You can always install more, but I'm going to input a bar as kind of like a page break for us. Pretty good. Now this is one of the ones that you'll notice when I drag it, it resizes and it can get different sizes, but it doesn't get squished. That's one of the features of the border and accent. It's going to resize to fit however you want, while the individual pieces maintain the aspect ratio. So it's kind of like cropping a pre-existing image. I like that a lot, but I don't like the colors. Now, we can change the color here. If we want, you'll notice that these are all individual parts. You can click on one, hold down Shift, and just click on everything you're interested in. And then I'm going to come up to Format, Shape Fill. I'm going to pick pink. Perfect. Orange and pink do not go together, so I'm going to change those. Way better. Okay, there we go. So you can add as many borders as you'd like from the insert, borders and accents. They've got some really interesting stuff in there. That's just something to kind of keep in mind as far as our options go for different things that we can add. So you can fill that all up. All right, let's take a peek at our inside. So when someone opens a pamphlet, it's theoretically just one part. So what I would like to do is I would like to add a picture that spans all three flaps and acts as kind of a background. So I'm going to come up to Insert, Online Pictures. I'm going to insert a picture of a dog. What a surprise. Alright, and I'm going to make it big, 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 big. Alright, and I'm also going to crop it down. He's a little bit too much white space for what we're doing, so I'll come up to Picture Tools Format. My picture is selected. You can see the box around it. Crop. I'm just going to get as close to him as I can. I hit crop again when I'm happy. Center him a little bit more. And make him as big as I can get. Okay. Now, in order for him to become our background and not distract too much from what's happening on top of him, because I'm going to add more, so I'm going to click on him. I'm going to right click. I'm going to format the picture. I'm going to move this over to the side so I can see him while I'm working. None, because I would like to put things on top. Picture, transparency. I'm going to make him a little bit more transparent. There we go. So he's faded, he's in the background, but he's definitely still there, looking super cute. So that's about how I want. If we want to change it, really easy. Right click on him again, format picture, there's a dot dot dot. We know there's another menu. Picture, we can always come and change our transparency a little bit more if we want to. Okay, now for example, maybe I want to add some text. I'm gonna insert. We can do the same thing if we do a shape like what we did before in terms of information over here maybe, and make it pink again. Well, I bet I don't want to lose my dog. We can do the exact same thing we did before with a dog. Right click on that shape. I'm going to go to that format auto shape dot dot dot. Perfect. Layout, perfect. Size, perfect. Colors and lines. Transparency, pretty transparent. There we go. And I can see my dog through it. That's perfect. Now, what I'm also interested in doing is we're going to talk about some of the really interesting features you can add to the shapes that we're dropping in. So I'm going to insert a shape. I'm going to do a rectangle again. Um, and this is going to be part of a graph. So I am going to do a vertical graph. So I'm just going to do like a really tall bar. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to make him pink. Oh, I forgot to get rid of my border, didn't I? No outline. I'm going to get rid of the outline there too. No outline. Okay, so I've got just this line. I could make that into a graph if I wanted to, but it's pretty boring. So let's talk about how we can make that look a little bit more interesting. With that shape selected, under our Drawing Tools Format tab, we've talked about the shape fill, the shape outline, so we're really going to talk about the shape effects, 3D rotation options. So 3D rotation, preset, we're looking at it straight on. We can choose any of these and see how that looks. Let's see if it'll give us a preview. It will not. Okay. Well, there it's turned, but oh, we don't have any side color. We're going to come back, 3D rotation options, dot, dot, dot. There's what we want. That's good. Well, let's look at our format. Top bevel, bottom bevel, depth. We can choose our color. I'm going to choose my pink, but then I would like to choose a tint. So down here under tint, it will look and say, well, here's some different shades that you might like. I like that one actually. Okay. Contour. Give it that too. Um, make our depth a little bit darker. Material, you can choose how shiny it is. I like that one. Lighting, that's pretty safe. Okay, let's see how that looks. There we go. So I think I'm going to come back up, 3D rotation options, formats. I'm going to say contour. I could do without it. I'm going to set it to 0 again. This, I think I like it maybe just 8. Okay. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And let's see if I can make my boy a little bit wider. See if I can make him a little bit deeper. 3D rotation options, 3D format. Let me get 20. I'm gonna see what that does. Ooh, yeah, I like that a lot. Okay, so now that looks like a really fancy bar and a really fancy bar graph. So what I'm gonna do, click on it. I've got my shape selected. I'm gonna hold down Control. I'm gonna click on C. That's our copy. And then I'm going to hit V a couple different times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That seems fine. I'm just going to move them over here so they're kind of out of the way. We can see everybody. And we can always go back and delete them later if we want to. But there's all of the bars for my bar graph. Now I can choose, come back here and choose our shape fill. And maybe I want some different colors. Notice that it doesn't change the color of the shadow. So the reason that the shadow is staying a different color is because we purposely went in and told publisher exactly what color we wanted to see. So to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in to the 3D menu and we're going to go to our options and I am going to go reset my colors and that'll make them all just solid color, but then I can go on leave on automatic color and publisher will automatically make the shadow part a little bit darker than the color I'm choosing for my main color. So we'll go ahead and do that. Okay, there we go. That's pretty good. So that's with the automatic shading um, on all of them. Now to change all of them, what I did was I clicked on one and then held down shift and just kept clicking on everything I wanted to select, just like we did earlier with our dog and our background. So now I can go in with the automatic shadows. I can come in and say, well, actually, I would like to change these colors. Oh, that orange is not making me happy. Okay, that's better. Purple. I'm going to get rid of that one. Okay, delete it. All right, so there we go. We've got our bars for our bar graph. And to resize them, just drag from the top on the bottom. But what does it mean? We don't have any background. We don't have any information. So how can we organize it? So what we're going to do, we're going to come up to Insert, Table. Clicking on this little down arrow opens up this. From here, we can make a table as big as we want. If we want it bigger than this, we can come to Insert Table and do it manually. But we need one that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 across. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 across. And I'm going to say, how big are our options? 8. Yeah, we'll see how that looks. There's our table. I'm going to use this table to kind of monitor how much information or what my ratio is for my graph. So right now it is on top of my graph bars because I did it after them. I would like to send it backwards. So under the table tools, layout, send backwards. I'm going to click right on it. See how the purple one is now on top of those lines? I'm going to keep doing it until all of my bars. Perfect. Okay. Now I can click and drag my shapes around. I'm just going to try and line them up with the very bottom. I'm actually going to line up that back corner. That's my personal preference. You can do whatever you'd like to line them up. I'm doing one per section. Okay, so we've got that. However, right now we've just got those dotted lines. That's not going to show up when we print. So we're going to click back on that table. We should see this little green dot at the top and kind of a weird thick line around the bottom. Under our table tools, which is a special format tab just for the table, under the design, we're going to choose our line color, our borders. I would like to have a left border, which is this side. So I can have something, well, our lines are really small. Let's make it fat. Left border, there's a left border, and that is a blue line. I'm going to make it black. Choose black. Click on my border button again. There it is, black. And then I'm going to choose a bottom border. There's that. Super duper. Okay. It would be really nice actually to have some thinner lines kind of across those, just so it's easy to see where my measurements are taking place. So what I'm going to do, I clicked in this first box. You can see my I-beam is flashing there. I'm going to highlight by holding down Shift and clicking on the boxes I want. I'm going to come back here and say my line is tiny again. And I'm going to change it so it's maybe a gray, a little bit lighter. And I'm going to say bottom border on those. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to click and drag across that row. I'm going to say bottom border. Click and drag across that row. I'm going to say bottom border. Now I know I've already chosen the bottom border here, so just clicking on it will turn it on and off. Bottom border, bottom border, and there's my last one. Okay, nice. Click off of that so I can see how it all looks. That is a gorgeous, incredibly engaging table. You can resize these now. So they're just, lovely, however you want them to look. Now, much like this dog on this first page where we did the background, I want to make sure that everything here stays together in terms of my graph table. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to group them again, just like we did with the dog earlier. I'm going to click on all my pieces. So there's my first one. Now, holding down Shift on the keyboard, I'm going to click on everything else. So I'm going to click on all these other bars, and then I'm going to click on the table behind them. Now I've got everybody selected. I'm on the Home tab, that's fine. It has that group tool. Click on that. Now I only see one box around them, which means I can drag them around and they'll stick together. Perfect. Now don't forget to add labels. And then you can continue to label them, and you can add little labels on the side here. Now we can rotate our text just like we did with everything else too. So if you want stuff to stay kind of at a little bit of an angle, you can keep up that theme. You can format it to look however you'd want. So really from here on out, you have the basic tools to go ahead and finish your brochure. You can move these around. Once you've added everything here, maybe you would like to add your title, holding down Shift, clicking. I want to add those to my group. I'm going to group those as well. All of this moves together now, so I can put it wherever I want it. You have all the tools that you need to go in and edit some more, drop in some more photos, drop in some tables, add some nice text, really make it look how you'd like. Print it off. When you're done, you should have a really nice brochure. Don't forget to get rid of your descriptors along the top for you here. Don't want those. When you print, your rulers, those green lines that we added, will not appear. So you don't have to worry about those so much. It will look file print. There's a preview. So we're not going to see any of those lines, just the ones we added. Those are going to be there. Check out page 1. There we go. Everybody's looking pretty good. Very nice. So go ahead and take some time. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments, or you can reach out to us at MADL.org. That's MADL.org. Remember, Muskegon Area District Library serves its local community with 10 branches. You can access any of our digital resources 24/7 by visiting MADL.org. Thanks!